So, we saw our first piece of the new Jazwares FNAF merch, and I started crying. Okay, so first off, I want to say, my thoughts are very mixed right now. I don't hate what I'm seeing, but I sure as hell hope it's not final. Update, it's not final. The guy who works on the line confirmed that these are all work in progress, so I'm going to keep that in mind while I talk about the Jazwares stuff later, because that is definitely important to know. Before we get into that, though, I do want to talk about some other reveals that are less important. So, first off, we got the Withered wave of Funko Pops, which, insane that it took Funko this long to make it, but, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of how the whole Withered cast looks. Withered Bonnie is the only one I really like, but he's also just a rehash of the old one, so I can't really give him credit for that. I don't know. This is kind of a really mid-wave, but it's completely made up for by this awesome Mangle. Like, oh my, this thing's sick. This is one of the coolest pops that Funko's ever made, I think. This thing is just perfect. I love it. Easily blows little U2's one out of the water. This one's also, like, deluxe size. It's, like, a bigger Funko Pop. So, yeah, very excited about this Mangle. Not so much about the Withereds. We also got our first in-person look at one of the Phatmojo FNAF construction sets, and now, this is both something that's very reassuring to me and something that I'm not feeling too great about. Now, first off, the figure. I think this is the best part. It's obviously not as quality as a McFarlane figure, but they're reviving the McFarlane line. They're using the same endoskeleton system where the head's removable and stuff. They have the same, like, swappable legs and stuff. They are making these new figures fully compatible, and they're trying to match the style of the old McFarlane figures, which I absolutely love. I'm so happy they're doing that. It just feels like they cared, at least. Like, yeah, they want people who collected the old line to feel like their old line is still valued, so yeah, it's cool that these are all perfectly in line with the old McFarlane figures. I like that a lot. We just have Roxy to go off of now, but she looks alright, but definitely a lot less detail than you'd expect from a McFarlane figure. Like, you can see, like, she's missing her earrings and stuff. They're not painted, but, you know, all due respect, it looks fine. There's not really much wrong with it. But yeah, I don't know. I think it looks fine. In terms of the figure, at least. I'm glad it matches with the McFarlane sets, but I'm still disappointed because it's not McFarlane. Like, this doesn't look nearly as high quality as what the McFarlane figures were. And also, the set itself, we got some pictures of the set itself, and yikes. Yikes. Now, remember how I said Phatmojo sucks at designing sets? This is what I meant. The recharge pod in the game is like a cylinder and stuff. This is just a brick. They just released a brick with a bunch of stickers on it. This looks like trash. This is complete trash. This build, I'm so disappointed by this. I was at least expecting something, but going off of the fact that this is a specifically Roxy-themed recharge station as well, it seems like we're just gonna get the same recharge station with different stickers over and over again for each Glamrock, which sucks. That is the worst case scenario for the actual sets, I think. That's pretty dire. I hope they don't do that, but I kind of feel like they are, but I don't know. I think from what I see right now, I'm not happy about the sets, but I'm more happy about the figures than I expected to be. And you know what? These are cool. You know, I'm happy to get the Glamrocks in the McFarlane style. It's cool to see. Alright, so like, full transparency, I'm real tired while recording this. These were just revealed like a while ago, and then more stuff kept coming as I was trying to record this video, so I'm just going to re-record everything, start from scratch, and now I'm just going to talk about the Jazwares stuff, because there's a lot to cover, so let me get straight into it. So looking at the figures one by one, here we got Endoskeleton, and I think this is pretty cool. So there's a gimmick with this line where there'll be these packs that come with an endoskeleton and then 2 suits for characters. And then I guess the idea is that you pick which suit you want to put on the endoskeleton, and then you'll have whichever character you decide to put on it. That's a cool idea, although I kind of don't like the fact that, you know, you'll just have an empty costume lying around while one animatronic is there, so you'll probably have to buy 2 packs if you want another endoskeleton. That's a little iffy, but I like the concept of the removable suit pieces, which I'll talk on more, but for all the function that this endoskeleton figure also has to have on top of being just a figure, I think this looks pretty cool. And it looks like it has a movable jaw too, which is pretty impressive for how small it is. Now, the long-awaited Jazwares Freddy Fazbear action figures. This classic FNAF 1 Freddy, no funny business. Now, this guy, I think a big issue I immediately notice is that this is a very, very unflattering image of him. They closed his mouth all the way. He looks really weird. Looks like he's eating a bee. You can see this picture here of him with his mouth open. Much, much better. Infinitely improved. And I do not think the sculpt on this figure is the problem at all. I think the main issue is how bland his paint job is. He has so little detail, and it's kind of sad. And I really hope on the final figure they do improve upon this. Like, his pupils are way too large, he's missing eyelids. His colors are overall just very flat. The joints between his ears are not painted, the insides of his ears aren't painted. This figure is in desperate need of some dirt washing and some extra details. And I hope the final figure will have it. It does seem like they're listening to fan feedback on these, so I am very hopeful that they will address some of these issues here, because I don't think there's anything wrong with this Freddy sculpt. I think he's pretty good. He's got no upper teeth, he has an endo jaw inside, which is pretty awesome. It's literally just that paint job, man. It's not good. And it's pretty jarring here when you pin him up against Withered Freddy, who is right next to him. First ever action figure of Withered Freddy, and he looks perfect. I love this guy. Now, he does have an issue that was also with the other Freddy. It's that I think his hands are way too small. Like, scale up those hands a bit. He has little baby hands. But besides that, this is a pretty perfect Withered Freddy sculpt. He's got dirt washing. He's fully detailed. The lack of eyelids works much better for Withered Freddy because, he just kind of does that sometimes. I love the way the withering looks on him with the hollow joints on this endoskeleton gimmick really helps out with withered characters, it seems, because the withering on this guy looks fantastic. I love how that looks, and I'm very happy with this. This is a very good Withered Freddy figure. I'd rate this very highly. But he does look rather out of place next to this Freddy, which is very bland in comparison. I do hope they'll give Freddy the same attention and care that Withered Freddy got here, because I think there's a little bit of bias, which, it's fair. Withered Freddy hasn't gotten an action figure before. If any character's going to have all the details, I'd hope it'd be the characters that haven't gotten figures before, but still, I do hope to see that the final release of Freddy has all the same details that Withered Freddy has, and, appropriate details that suit for FNAF 1 Freddy. Like, the lack of eyelids, I think, is a big issue for the Freddy figure. If he had eyelids, I think that would immediately make him look way better, and you could just paint those on. It doesn't have to be sculpted or anything. In this release format for these characters, it seems what they're doing is we're going to get these 2 packs, which will come with the suits for 2 characters and an endoskeleton that will retail for $25 USD each. Which, that's pretty good. You're basically getting 3 characters for that much. $25 for 3 characters, that's not bad. And I do think this has a lot of potential with this release format, because there's a lot of characters in FNAF that you could use this format for, because we got infinite Freddy variants, Bonnie variants, Chica variants. You could do so much with this. So I think it's a very clever strategy to get a ton of characters out of the way really quickly, so good on them for that. And the second endoskeleton pack we got revealed is Bonnie, and this Bonnie figure I think looks a ton better than the Freddy does in terms of detail. I guess Bonnie just lends himself better to this, I guess. I will say, though, I do think that the joints on his ears are way too thick. I get making them thicker to structurally, support it, but again, they should be painted for one. I think that's important, but then also, I think the joints between his ears should be a lot thinner, just because, I don't know. If you have to make his ears closer to his head to make them thinner, that would be a lot better, because right now, the ears look very oversized and goofy. And I also just don't think it looks too natural the way they're sticking straight up. I think they should at least be, the top part of them should at least be curved forward a little bit. Similar to how the original Funko figure did the ears. And again, his lack of eyelids here is definitely hurting him. I think he definitely needs those. But overall, I do think this figure looks very good. I like how Bonnie turned out here. I think with just a few little touch-ups, I think he'll look pretty much perfect. Then we got Withered Bonnie, who I think looks a bit more wonky. He's got the exact same thing going on with his ears. I think the ridge around the, rip on his face is a bit too thick there, too. And also, it'd be awesome to have a way to remove that top part of the endo jaw, just so it, is more accurate, because Withered Bonnie does not have a full endo jaw. The top part of it is missing, too, just like the top part of his actual jaw. Withered Bonnie has no upper teeth or upper jaw to speak of. So it's just kind of weird seeing that in there. I also think the wires could use some paint detail. They're a bit, flat and gray. There's also just something really off about his torso sculpt. Freddy and Withered Freddy both had very different looking torsos. This basically just looks like they took the other Bonnie's torso and painted some buttons onto it. I would hope that he would have a unique torso mold on the final figure. Also, I think the endoskeleton here, just in general, should be darker, and there should probably be some wires coming down from the mask to, go over the endo face, because Withered Bonnie without any wires in his face is kind of weird looking. And then after those action figures, we've got the Toy Animatronics, which come in single packs. Now, this is the second release strategy. I know I said the 2 packs with the classic characters and their withered counterparts will be $25 each. These ones with the single packs of the Toy Animatronics are supposed to going to be $10 each. I'm speaking USD, by the way, United States. You can do the conversion to whatever other currency, because I'm too lazy to do it. And now, ignoring the actual figure itself, because I want to talk about that separately, I like this packaging. It's bubble carded, which is not my favorite, as you guys would know. I've talked about this in videos before, but, bubble carding is never my favorite, but I do like the design here. It's actually got an appropriate classic Freddy render. It's got the red FNAF logo. The sticker on the front of the box is designed after, the cameras from the game. That's pretty cool. You can see here he has jump scare action and glowing eyes. So, to have a play feature and lights inside of it, supposedly, that's kind of crazy for the $10 price point these are being said to be at. But, the guy said it, so I'll take his word for it. I'm a fan of this packaging. It feels very classic, but it also feels very fresh. We haven't seen FNAF merch that's, seems like it had this much thought put into the packaging, because usually they just slap the same Withered Freddy render and call it a day. Now, on to Withered Freddy himself. Sculpt here, which I feel the same way about all the Toy Animatronics, their sculpts are perfect. No issues here. Awesome proportions. His articulation looks pretty good. He's got nice, I don't know. The whole detail here is perfect. He looks perfectly on model, perfect proportions. No notes in terms of sculpt for any of the Toy Animatronics, really, but I think these all look great. It's still a shame that we never got Funko versions and they made the crappy AR variants, but it's nice to see we're actually getting some Toy Animatronic action figures now. And this is a prototype, this is a work in progress, so I do hope the final figure will have a slightly better paint job. Again, I think the whole, I don't know, the colors here look weird. He's missing a lot of key details, the lines are, he's supposed to have the little rings around his eyes. Those aren't there at all. I think the colors here are just entirely off. He's got, the brown-based color from Help Wanted, which wouldn't be an issue if, the secondary color also matched, but he has, an orangey other color, so I don't know. I feel like he should be more orange, or, I don't know. Base him purely off of one color palette for Toy Freddy. This is kind of matching the Help Wanted and the Scott model together, and I don't really like how it looks. And he needs the rings around his eyes. He looks naked without them. And Toy Bonnie here, I feel more or less exactly the same about. Perfect looking sculpt, really no notes on the sculpt itself. It's just, he's really lacking in the paint job department. Again, I don't know what it is with these companies for getting the rings around the eyes, but I don't know. I feel like that's such a necessary detail. It's even more necessary for Toy Bonnie than it is for Toy Freddy, because it's the whole thing that contrasts against the blue on his face, It's it feels like he needs it. I'd also prefer if he was a bit lighter of a blue, but that's a nitpick. Same deal as Toy Freddy. Perfect sculpt, lackluster paint job that I hope the final figure will look better. And here we got Toy Chica, and I can't decide if I like her or Toy Freddy more. I love both of their sculpts. They both look really, really good. This figure looks great. They did an amazing job on this. Basically, everything's perfect. Again, just lacking in the paint detail, although she does look the best in this prototype phase just because she's missing the most detail. It would be really awesome if the final release of this figure came with a swappable head for like the beakless face, but I would understand for how cheap these are. These are only like $10 each supposedly, so if they wanted to just release beakless Toy Chica as a separate figure, I wouldn't really mind that much because of how cheap they are. But yeah, proportions, sculpt, everything here. Same deal as Freddy and Bonnie in the Toy Animatronic line. She looks very good. Now here we got the final action figure reveal, which is Mangle. Now, a Mangle action figure has been one of the most highly requested pieces of FNAF merch, I feel, for a very, very long time. People have been begging for this just as much as the Withered figures, I feel, and this does not disappoint, I don't think. I think this looks very good. For what they're doing here, this is probably going to be no more than like $25, and for that, I think they did the absolute best they could. Mangle is a very hard character to make a figure of, so I give them full credits for making this even like look decent, and it's pretty cool. I like it a lot. It does seem to have some Funko style joints in the sense that they look like they can probably like snap apart, but intentionally. Which is, it's fitting for Mangle, although I do worry about the structural integrity of this thing. I'd prefer if it wasn't toppling over all the time, but it does give me confidence that it's standing up straight here at the toy fair, but at the same time, the limbs do appear to be glued together in this picture, so yeah, it seems like this might have some issues standing up and just like issues being stable in general, but I guess that's just Mangle's thing. I like the sculpt here. Very clearly based on the Help Wanted model, but I don't really mind. The pink endo eye I've always kind of preferred to the original model. I think the head sculpt looks very good from what we can see of it. I'm happy with this. Now, next we got Plushies, which I always have much less to say about, so let's just look at the base set of Plushies. Here we got the base set. It includes Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and the puppet. This will be the first wave of the Plushies, and you know what? They're pretty charming. I like them. They're different from Funko's. They're not just one-to-one copying Sanchi, because, you know, it would kind of be like the third layer of inbreeding if they ended up making the Funko, making them look like the Funko ones again, because it's like the Funko one, the Sanchi ones were copying the in-game ones, which was fitting, but then the Funko ones were copying the Sanchi ones, so it would be kind of weird if we had another layer to that, so now that there'd be Jazwares ones copying the Funko ones, but I don't know, I'm happy they're doing something different. I know that's probably controversial, though. I'm sure a lot of people will prefer if they had just stick to the same style, which it's just fair. I think Funko will keep making plushies, but they'll probably never do this size again, which is unfortunate. I do like these plushies for what they are, though. They do remind me of like the round 1 Japanese arcade FNAF plushies, if you know what I'm talking about. I'll pull up a picture, actually. Genuinely, only complaint I can think of with these plushies is that Bonnie's forehead is really big. Other than that, I like these a lot. Chica having her cupcake is impressive for the price range, and also I like the puppet being included a lot. This is probably my favorite puppet plush they've made ever. And we got some more plushies. We got these little mini ones. I'm not sure if these are like keychains or like just like little blind bag things. I have no idea, but these are adorable. I like these a lot. I don't know how you guys feel about these, but I personally really like them. I like little tiny plushies. And we've also got a Foxy Squishmallow. If you didn't know, Jazwares also owns Squishmallows, so we're going to get FNAF ones of those. We got Foxy here, we got Chica, we got Bonnie. Pretty standard stuff, but it's nice that they exist. You have to have this big electronic Freddy plush who talks or something. This is pretty cool. I like this guy a lot, okay? I'm a big fan of when plushies do something bold and risky, you know? And there's not very many Freddy plushies out there that just try to look like the actual animatronic. They usually stylize them after the plushies that are in the actual games, so seeing something like this, I like this. He may not look the best, but it's just kind of the thought that counts for me. I like stuff like this a lot. I have a fondness for FNAF 1 Freddy merch that looks like this. But anyway, yeah, I guess that's all. It's pretty exciting to finally see this stuff after waiting for so long and it being pretty radio silent until now, but it's nice to finally see this stuff. These are supposed to release around fall, supposedly, so we don't got too much longer to wait for them, so very, very curious to see what happens with these, how the final products look compared to these prototypes. I'm personally looking forward to the line. I want to see where it goes. I want to see what it does. I'm excited to see something different. We've had Funko for so long, and Funko's done a lot of good and bad, and while I am definitely very critical of Funko, it doesn't mean I'm not gonna miss them, and I'm also just kind of like, I don't know, I want something new for FNAF merch, and this is something new. They're doing a lot of stuff that's fresh and exciting, and that just excites me because FNAF merch has been such a dry landscape for so long, it feels. Funko hasn't really done anything interesting I can think of since, like, I don't even know how long it's been. I feel like the last time I was truly, like, excited and pumped up for a Funko wave was, like, the Curse of Dreadbear wave or something. It's been a while now. So it just feels good to be excited about something new with FNAF merch again. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed my ramblings, or if you're just skimming through the video to see what the figures look like, I don't blame you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for 100,000 subscribers, by the way. This is my first video since that. I forgot to mention that.